Greetings, YouTube. I don't know how many of the people viewing this have read the book Animal Farm, but in America, it's pretty much required reading when you're in high school. At least it was for me. I don't know if there was a English class track that I wasn't in. I wasn't in a very bright class. I wasn't particularly good at English. Oddly, I was one of the class writers in my high school senior year. That always kind of made me smile. But I would be stunned if most Americans, at least, and many Europeans, have not heard of the book Animal Farm. And of course, in it, we have animals who take over their farm. A revolution. All animals are now equal. But of course, over the course of the book, some animals end up being more equal than others. And eventually, they become the leaders, and just like the people that they overthrew. It's a wonderful little bit of political commentary told in a very entertaining and moving way. It's a great book. But I'm reminded of it because it appears that some of the members of the U.S. Congress do not pass through the same level of security that the rest of us do. So it appears that the concept that some of us are more equal than others is alive and well in the 21st century. So, what should we do about it? Well, I'm suggesting, and I'm borrowing this idea from someone, a comment I read somewhere online, so I don't know who it was, but thank you, that all members of Congress are required to live in public housing, take public transportation, and use Medicare. That they are on food stamps. That they, in effect, receive all of their living expenses from the public. So they will experience what it's like to be on the actual welfare system. So that it's not some distant event that happens way over there to people that aren't them. No, it's up close and personal. It's something they experience every day when their children go to public schools and they don't get to choose which school. When they have to walk up the flights of their public housing because the elevators are broken. When they have to pass people in the street who are hungry, or drug addicts, or homeless, because that's what exists in their neighborhood. When they have to wait in line for medical services because the system does not work, even though public health care systems function in other nations. Or when they have to be very choosy about what they eat because the things that they would like to eat aren't available because they're on food stamps. I'd like the members of Congress to have an intimate understanding of what it is to be lower income. And the very concept that if you are on the welfare system, that you are treated as a lower class of citizen. There's a difference between an economic strata and a social strata. And we in the United States confuse the two. We often look at those who are in the lower income brackets as having a moral failing. That somehow, because they are poor, that they deserve it. And that those who are wealthy also deserve it. Both of these concepts I consider to be faulty. Make the Congress members have to take public transportation everywhere so they can see that the public transportation system is in abysmal condition in America. Where I live, the only public transportation we actually have are buses, and the routes are not convenient, neither in the number of times they run or in the areas that they cover. And every year they get cut back a little bit more, and then they're always surprised when ridership goes down. It's a feedback loop, folks, as they become more and more inconvenient, fewer and fewer people use them, and those who don't have access are left out in the cold, literally. Now, I speak from experience because I took public transportation for 22 years. It was how I got from point A to point B almost all the time. I didn't have a driver's license until I was 36. So I've been driving for 10 years, and I will freely admit that the freedom made available to me by owning a vehicle, a car, is unprecedented. There's nothing like it. I'm going to be going in less than 2 hours to my dentist. Then I'm going to go run some errands. I need to go to a craft store. I need to go to a sporting goods store. I need to go to a health food store. I need to stop by and pick up something at my father's, and I have a print job at Staples I need to go get. And then I'm going to go pick up a turkey. So we're going to cook it up Thursday morning for Thanksgiving. And I wouldn't be able to do any of those things on public transportation where I live. I want the members of Congress to understand what life is like for the people who we have put into the lowest strata of society. No big budgets, no fancy limos or commandeered military flights, none of that. Common people. Real people. People who have the same rights and privileges that everyone else does. That shouldn't be treated as though they are a member of some kind of outcast group. We don't have a caste system in America, at least not an official one. Talk to people in India about how that's worked out for them. So I want Congress to understand what is it like to be put into that category, into the caste that we have decided certain people belong in. I don't think it's going to happen, mind you. They'll continue riding around their limos and have their multiple homes and their catered lunches and walk right through security without being searched. But I can dream, can't I? Didn't we at one point have an American dream? I keep forgetting. I woke up one day and it just kind of slipped out of my head.